ready to go for the next race. I love this part of the race when we get time to see the pictures, the nerves, the tension, the organisational feat, getting the eights ready, and you'll see the power and you'll hear the power and the strains as they leave those pontoons. This is a local derby as well. Shiplake College against Hinksey Sculling School, a club based up in Oxford.
Yeah, Shiplake have done a fantastic job of developing their ladies program over the last few years with Dave Curry as the chief coach there, and they've really seen the results over the last few years. So Shiplake's had a fantastic season. But you know, interesting to look at these athletes on the start. You know, as a spectator, you kind of think, what are they thinking? You know, what are they thinking as they're sat there? Because this is where the nerves can start to take control, and you know, potentially help you, you know, lose your focus. So you know, what do you do as an athlete here? What are you thinking about? And I guess for me, you know, when I was in this position, I was just thinking about the first 3 strokes of the race, not about the rest of the race, just the first 3 strokes that you're going to take. And that just sort of simplifies your focus. You can visualize exactly what they look like, and then everything else looks after itself. But I'd be interested to know, you know, what some of these girls are thinking right now.
That was some low 5 that Young and Catlin exchanged, wasn't it? Did you hear the slap of that? There. Ready to go, all fired up.
Yeah, I love it. Love it.
Hands are hurting now and struggle to hold the blades.
Chip off the old block, that was me 20 years ago.
Good luck to the jogger, keeping up with these two.
You're holding that position, tension, trying to breathe, trying to stay strong in your position. Not a comfortable position sat there at the start.
On the posture?
No, yeah, on your posture. It's not a very comfortable position to hold. Sarah teasing them off.
This is Sarah Winklis, the umpire.
Yeah. Sarah holding them for a little bit extra time there. Listening for them. Here we go.
So we're off and running in the Prince Philip Challenge Trophy. Shiplake College on the Berkshire station to the left of your picture in the yellow boat, and Hinksey Sculling School from Oxford to the right on the Buck station.
Yeah, interesting, and 2 very contrasting styles as they went out of the blocks there. Shiplake with two or three shorter strokes, whereas Hinksey with going straight into a very long stroke early on. Shiplake looked to got into a nicer rhythm as they moved, you know, down the buoys towards the end of the island. But Hinksey rowing that longer stroke straight away out of the blocks. Personally, that was my preference of how to get out of the blocks. But, you know, there are many different ways to skin a cat in rowing and get out of the blocks. But yeah, if you take those longer strokes, it's heavier to move. You're not taking as high a rating of strokes, but means you're rowing longer earlier on in the race.
Here's a deep philosophical question for you early on a Wednesday. Do you decide on the style based on the athletes you have at your disposal, or do you enforce the style on the athletes regardless? What dictates it?
Well, it depends what kind of coach you are. But you know, I think a good coach would actually, you know, look at the athletes that they have and find out what works best for them. And then you know, there's also the view that a good coach would just tell you what to do
and make you adapt and impose it. Yeah.
But you know, Hinksey Sculling School going very, very long leader, stroked here by Martha Shepherd. She's not even 16 yet, but she's nearly 180 centimeters tall. So very tall athlete, and actually rowing a very long stroke, very relaxed in her shoulders, you know, and very loose and a nice rhythm, which makes it for the rest of the crew really pleasurable to follow. And then they can just row long and concentrate on moving the boat one stroke at a time.
So you can see Anthony, the Cox there, the Hinksey. To the left of your picture in the white and royal blue.
Yeah, but interesting. So Shiplake is, you know, the local school just down the road. So they will know this course very, very well. So while, you know, Hinksey, we talked about it earlier, tactics sometimes are like get a commanding lead, drive out of the blocks, and try and dominate early on. But sometimes, you know, you can spend your chips too early in the race. and Shiplake will know exactly where they are. One of the fantastic things about the program there, and Dave Curry is very, very good at pacing the race. So interesting to see how they pace that out over the rest of the track.
Got some notable alumni, Shiplake, haven't they? Will Satch, I suppose, is the most recent.
Yeah, Will Satch, one of our illustrious stewards, Ben Hunt Davies, Olympic champion. So 2 Olympic champions there. The infamous Danny Marrett, 9 times Henley winner from Oxford Brookes University.
So some big shoes to fill for Shiplake College. Here at Hinksey, though, putting together a good race. Nice and relaxed. Easy to say that when you're a couple of lengths up, isn't it, at that stage of the race? But they do, they look nice and relaxed.
Yeah, a good overhead shot here. So one of the clear advantages for me is the length of the stroke that Hinksey are rowing. So how far they're getting out the front of the stroke. So if you see the rigger there on the boat, that's that triangular thing that's attached to the side of the boat. They're getting past that triangle every time they're at the front of the stroke, and that allows them to really take advantage of their legs and their lower back, and really lever off the front of the stroke.
Paying off at the moment. Here comes Shiplake College. It's in the Coxey Monty Walker. Eleanor Webb, you can see in the sunglasses. In fact, they're all wearing sunglasses, so that's not going to help you. But Eleanor Webb in the stroke seat. Behind her, Halman, Hadfield, Catlin Young, Jackson Green, and it's Hannah Body in the bow seat.
Shiplake, they're rowing very, very nicely. Just if you look at the differences between the 2 crews, it's Hinksey's slightly more powerful, slightly stronger, heavier crew, and at the end of the day, if you can get that muscle weight on the end of the oar, you can create more power, and that tends to be a massive advantage.
Hinksey neat and tidy, keeping a good line away from the boom, well away from Shiplake College. Did you wear sunglasses when you were on the water? Because actually today it's quite overcast, it's not particularly glary.
Yeah, it depended. Sometimes it's great to wear them, and sometimes it was a disaster because they would fog up and you couldn't really see what was going on.
Bit of splash.
So a lot of experimentation with the different shades over the years. But a lot of the time, it was like the blinkers of horses in horse racing. It allowed you to kind of really just focus in and block the other crew out. But it could be a nightmare if you were steering the crew and they fog up. Or one race in Munich World Cup Regatta, I believe Sarah Winkless was in the race. Elise Laverick had her shades on, and a wasp flew up inside the lens, and stayed there for the rest of the race. So it could be a disaster as well.
Yeah, that would be a little bit distracting. So here come Hinksey Sculling School in the Prince Philip Challenge Cup. They're moving along very nicely. They're into the exciting part of the race now in front of the regatta enclosure. They'll soon be in front of stewards. You can see the water taxis darting back and forth, the motorboats escorting staff at the regatta here from one bank to another. It's a busy place.
Yeah, it's lovely to see. I think it's lovely to see just more women's crews on the water. Women's schoolgirls, racing at Henley. This is a real progression for Henley Royal Regatta. But also Hinksey Sculling School. 10 years ago, you never heard of them. So it's also a fantastic thing for the sport. It shows you how these programs are developing all over the country and really promoting sport for women.
Yes, gender parity at Henley Royal Regatta has been a real objective over the last few years, and in a remarkably short space of time they've just about got there. And this is a good example of it, isn't it? Hinksey Sculling School striding ahead. Shiplake College know the game is almost up.
This is a really nice feeling as you're rowing down the enclosure. Shiplake has done a fantastic job, but Hinksey, in that commanding lead, it must feel, it does feel absolutely lovely with couple of strokes to go, and you know you've done the job, and you know you've got another day at the regatta.
What will they be doing for the rest of the day? Celebrating, focusing in on tomorrow, watching some of the other races?
Well, I think if they're a good crew, they're going to spend their time winding down and you know, looking after their recovery. But potentially, maybe they get overexcited. Who knows? I mean, this is where they have to manage the rest of the regatta. But they look very professional to me.
Hinksey Sculling School, winners of the Prince Philip Challenge Trophy heat there, beating Shiplake College.